you to get the geothermal resource use license, so 30 years, thermal resource, you should be able to pay royalties of between 1% and 5%. So royalties. And yesterday I gave this example because I come from Western Kenya. So this is to benefit the Gen Zs. When you, in Western Kenya, if you get married, a lady gets married, the person married is required to pay how many cows? In Luo land, how many cows are paid? How many? 2. Huyo ni Gen Z. Ngapi? Traditionally, our elder, how many cows legally were supposed to be paid for someone to marry? 6. Yes, minimum of 6. Hiyo status imeanza juzi. Kitambo, even in Kalenjin, penye utatafuta bibi. Wamesema ukienda Kikuyu land ama Kisii, you are... Kwani, is there a problem with the K? Sabu umesema Kisii, Kikuyu and Kalenjin. So it means the K has cows. Traditionally, 12 cows. 12 moving, 12 cows with 4 legs. 12 cows with how many legs? You're saying something. Okay, you wanted to see my presentation. So me, I came from Nairobi. I was telling my uncle, why should we look for cows? I have money, right? We go there, M-Pesa, we go home. Do you know what my uncle told me? It is to see moving cows. So even with your money, we had to look for around 4 cows to make sure that during that day, because it was very far from home, so we spoke to someone, bought the cows, and delivered the cows physically. So everyone knew that huyu amechukuli, si nyinyi wenye mna double deal. Huyu amefanya nini? Amechukuliwa. So kama bado yuko is another thing, but kuchukuliwa alichukuli. So when you pay the cows, after you give birth to a son in your marriage, so your marriage is successful, and you reach 20 years, at around 20 years age or something, it's like an appreciation, because the application, the logic was, the cows that I pay dowry should be able to multiply in generations to come. So that generation, one cow from that generation, should be brought back to the son who is born in the other family. So that is a form of a royalty. So you are saying thank you for giving us your daughter. Your daughter has been brought up well, she's been successful, she's given us a generation. So here, our form of thank you. You understand? So if you forget royalties, remember that story. So the developer has applied for exploration in Nyakachi area. Homa Hills, I hear there is some geothermal, right? They suspected to be geothermal in Homa Hills. After amefanya exploration, akapata resource. To compare 30 years to utilize the resource. In the process of utilizing the resource, they are supposed to 5%. But they have given a range, 1 to 5%. So in this regulation, we'll be asking ourselves, do we say the royalty should be 1% or 5%? And one of the things, when we develop regulations, you assess the impact. The impact. I have, most of my age mates nowadays are not getting married. They have a good salary, they are paid well, but they say it's an extra effort to bring in another party in my life. So mimi acha niende ni chape sherehe Friday jioni, niendelee na mai. So they have done their impact from marriage. Sindio? Wanasema revenue zangu ni kama zito. So hata kwa regulation, tukiunda regulation tunafanyanga impact for every decision. So one of the things that we have done here is to determine what is the impact of paying, the investor paying royalties to the cost of electricity, because that goes to the consumer, and to the viability of the investment. So we applied these details here. The first row, results, LCO, is the cost per unit of electricity without royalties. The second column is when you are applying the minimum threshold of 1%. So you notice the tariff is increasing, but slightly. So from 9.93, so if you assume the current exchange rate, the tariff, and say maybe assume it's 100 per dollar, so the tariff increases by 0.003 cents. Is that a big impact? If I went to a bank account, and for every transaction you make, in every shilling, I still 0.003. Will you notice? Do you think you will notice? So for the investor, we use the internal rate of return. And we also did the same, and we found the impact is also insignificant. So basically, our conclusion is, when we're doing the analysis, that the project developers should pay royalties, and the threshold set in law is not very significant to affect the viability of the project or to impact the end user tariffs. So that was our conclusion. But you can tell us whether this conclusion is wrong, just to demonstrate the impact of that project. So in addition to, as I give my last slide, so this is my last slide. So when you're doing the operations of the power plant, require you give the cabinet secretary an idea of what you are doing on the site. And lastly, you are supposed to comply with many other things that include environmental requirements. So if you exit the site today, you need to restore the site as per the MCA Act. So we have tried to bring in the other things like environmental compliance, local content, the cabinet secretary publishing a register in the public domain on who has the permit for which block and who is doing what, utilization of what geothermal resource. So basically, those are the other requirements that have been itemized in the regulations. So I will leave them here so that you're able to see, including you cannot transfer permit without approval of the cabinet secretary. You can forfeit a site, and in this case, if you fail to operate a site, the site can be taken from you. But you can also say, mimi nimejaribu kufanya hii biashara licenses, and keep all information that is proprietary that is submitted in the course of the undertaking. So that is it for this regulation. I will stop here. In case there is any clarification, any input, you may not want to just ask a question. You can also say, as per your presentation, or what I've read in the regulation, because you have it, this is what we should change. And our secretariat will be taking that on board to make sure that we have the notes taken. So I'm looking at our good lawyer, because I can't see the other secretariat, to assist us to take the next questions. Thank you. So you just say your name. If you are coming from an organization, you say this organization and ask your question. Thank you.
Which will be taking questions, comments, concerns, proposed changes to the draft regulations. So if you have any comment, you can raise your hand and then you can address them as we go ahead. You can start with the first one.
Yes, I think I'm Kaleba. I've said my name. First, I appreciate for the engineer on the well done work on the presentations. There is only maybe 2 areas of concerns that I don't see them being covered properly in the presentations. One, maybe as a matter of clarification, because yes, and it disturbs a number of Kenyans. Why we Kenyans, we are producing oil? We are producing oil, yet the price of the oil is still up. Yet we have EPRA always on the note to be. Then, in the same note, the investor is like also not really coming on board to put his case properly. Then the other aspect which came in, that what was being produced from Turkana had to go to Britain is well now being sold back to us. Kenyans could not understand, and I'm one of the Kenyans who could not understand why the EPRA is increasing the petrol cost every day. Chinese guys who are doing a number of sites in the country. They are doing a number of construction or whatever. And in the process of looking for sand, some are going for the sand in the river. And in that process, they end up looking for gold. Some he is in the process of looking for sand as his raw material. But in that process, some are really mishandling our rivers, looking for gold. And they left those rivers just like that. We don't see where that is also covered. Yes, we need at least some clarity. Then the last one is for those who handle sites, because we have had issues with the NEMA, like those who are digging sand, those who are digging whatever. Some are just, after digging that sand, they leave those holes just like that. They a dam which later become a death trap to the community. So we are not seeing those things, because if you go to NEMA tell you there is an impact assessment, whatever, there is whatever, something was being done. But if you go on the ground, it's not like what is being told in the boardroom or in the paper. What is the situation of EPRA on those areas?
Thank you, Caleb. I think we'll take two more.
Thank you very much. I'm Reverend Wilberforce Sukula, Chairman of Opinion on the Grounds, yes. My concern is about the royalties. First, I'm getting a rate of 5 to 1%. So my concern is that why is it that the community is just given very small percentage? Because if something is found within the community, and this community need to be developed